Hey guys, this is Ryan of Mama on Mission, and today I am bringing you a belated book recs and what's next. This is what I read in the month of April, and keep in mind this is a collaboration with Ingrid over at the Ingrid Chronicles, and so make sure you check out that playlist down below. There should be a few women in there sharing what they've been reading, and so you can get tons of good ideas on what you might want to read next. And please let me know at the end down below what you've been reading, or if you have read any of these books and what you've thought about them. So I did finally finish Alexander Hamilton by Ron Chernow, and that was a very long listen because I did do the audiobook, but it was very good, very detailed. I would definitely give it, for its genre, probably a 4.5 star. I won't say it was like the most riveting thing I've ever heard in my life, but it's a biography, so it's, you know, true facts. It's not storytelling, so you have to take that into consideration. But it was very, very in-depth without being dry. It was tons of facts, but it went along, you know, very smoothly and chronologically, and I really appreciated that, and it has helped me to appreciate the Hamilton Broadway play even more so, given I haven't seen it, but I have listened to the soundtrack countless times and looked at some books that have been based off of that, and so I'm excited for that to come out in June. I think they said there would be a video version, and later this year I might actually be seeing it in person. Fingers crossed. So that was really enjoyable. I did also finish up this study. Again, this isn't really a book, it's more of a workbook, but I thought it was worth sharing. This Better study by Jen Wilkin, and we did this through my women's group at church, and it is so good. She has some, you can purchase either the audio teaching or the video teaching to go along with it. But what this is basically an application of another book that I'm reading by her with another group of women called Women of the Word, again by Jen Wilkin, and I'm about 3/4 the way through with that. And it's just all about how to study God's Word, because sometimes you just get lost, and sometimes the Bible is hard, and it's it seems like a mountain, and you're just like, I can't handle that right now. But she breaks it down and shows you how to study God's Word, and it is hard, but it's so worth it. So then what this is, I'm seeing now, is basically her helping us do that for, you know, this one specifically was the book of Hebrews. So she takes those things that you learn from her book, Women of the Word, and puts it to practice here, along with her commentary. So very good. Women of the Word, very good. And those were my 3 nonfiction for the month of April. My fiction books for the month of April were The Silent Patient by Alex Michaelides. I hope I'm not butchering that, but I probably am. And I give that a 3.5 stars. I waited a long time to listen to this book. I reserved it a long time ago, and I've heard that it's really good. I did enjoy it. I won't say I didn't enjoy it, but I don't know if it was happenstance or if it was just kind of too easy, but I figured out the end about halfway through. And so the end wasn't as like impactful as I think it was supposed to be. And I'm not saying that I'm like some genius that figured it out before I was supposed to, but I did, and it made the end not so exciting for me. So, but the story in general was pretty good. Let's see, and then I also read The House We Grew Up In by Lisa Jewell. Again, I really like Lisa Jewell's books. So this one was less of a mystery than a lot of her other ones that I've read, but it deals a lot with mental illness and how that can impact an entire family. And so it was kind of a deep, dark book for me, but I really liked it. I would give that 4 stars. Not like one of the best things I've ever read, but I did really enjoy it. And then I finished up Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens, and this also came highly recommended. And this one I gave a 4 stars. Again, a pretty good story, but the end on this one, I didn't have it figured out before the end. But the end of this one, I feel like there was such a big buildup, and then when it finally got to the conclusion, you're just like, oh, that's it? Like, okay, but I want more detail. Like, it wasn't like the ending was a letdown. It was just like, it just felt like it kind of abruptly ended. And so I kind of wanted more detail in the end as to what actually all took place. And maybe that was just kind of like they were going for that, probably. Maybe Mrs. Owens was, or Miss Owens was. But I personally just wanted a little more detail at the end. But the story as a whole was really good. And then I am about a little over halfway done with A Tale of Two Cities by Charles Dickens. I know I started that a long time ago, but I got really wrapped up in Where the Crawdads Sing and Alexander Hamilton, and so I'm now back into A Tale of Two Cities, a classic that I had never read before. So I will let you know how that went next month. And so for my 3rd grader, here are the books that he has read this month. He read The Elevator Family by Douglas Evans, and he really enjoyed this. I don't know much about it, so I can't really say, but he said it was good. It says a wacky, warm-hearted tale, so it sounds like my kind of book. And then he read one of these little Batman books, and these are pretty easy for him, but he still enjoys these little DC hero books. Batman Mad Hatter's Movie Madness. I'm not crazy about these type of books, but I let him read them every once in a while for a little fluff. And this is by, probably going to butcher this name too, Limke Scheigel Luffridge. But he said it was really good, so I'll take his word for it. And he also read A Case for Buffy. This is another one of the Detective Gordon books, and this is by Ulf Nilsson, and he gave this one a thumbs up also. These are, I've never like read through them. They're pretty easy for him again, but he enjoys them. But the illustrations are really cute, and they seem like a good, like, kind of lighthearted mystery. And then he just barely started this, so he doesn't really have an opinion yet. The Great Brain by John Fitzgerald. Of course, the illustrations are by Mercer Mayer, which is the little critter guy. Some of my favorites growing up. And if he likes these, there's a whole series, so we'll get him into those. And then he's he's reading 2 books at once, which he typically doesn't do, and it's not working out so well for him. So he's almost halfway through The Borrowers by Mary Norton. We watched this movie a few months ago, and he really thought it was funny, so we let him check out the book. And then I said he has also been into some nonfiction lately, and I thought I would show you one of those. He's into these survival zone books. This is Survive in the Woods. So it's been really cool when we've been on our nature walks, which we've been doing a lot lately because of all of everything being closed. He's been telling me, Mom, did you know you can eat this plant? And did you know this is where you would find drinking water? You know, and stuff like that. And there's a whole series of them that he wants to get into once our library is back open. Let's see. So for our read alouds, we finished up The Secret Garden by Frances Hodgson Burnett. And this is a classic, and I give it 5 stars because I loved it. This year we just happened to read this right as spring really hit here and things started blooming, and we have baby birds in our bushes in the front yard, baby sparrows, and we have tadpoles, and we have a big old toad that lives in our backyard, and we planted our garden. So seeing all those spring things come to life as we are wrapping up this story has been really, really cool and just made it that much more charming to me. So we enjoyed that. And then we have started and are about a quarter, maybe a third of the way into On the Edge of the Dark Sea of Darkness by Andrew Peterson. This is the first book of the Wingfeather saga, and I had never heard of these until recently. I just happened to see this on our library's bookshelf, and so I was like, wait, is that like the singer, Andrew Peterson, songwriter, and it is. And I love some of his music. And so this is kind of a silly adventure fantasy story, which isn't so much my type. I'm not much of a fantasy person, but I'm enjoying it, and I think my kids are too. It might be a little old for them. I think the reading or the interest level or whatever they call that, anyway, was about 5th or 6th grade, and so my boys are a little younger than that, but they still say they enjoy it. So we listen to this. I have it on audio that we listen to in the car, but then in the evening sometimes I'll read out of the book as well. And then sometimes I like to share with you guys a picture book. Well, with our library being closed, we've had to just go back to our library at home. And I feel like we're kind of at that point where we've read everything a lot. And so we've kind of gone back to the simple basics. And we have been reading a lot of Dr. Seuss lately. Who doesn't love Dr. Seuss? I don't know. We enjoy these because all 3 of my boys will listen in to them with all the rhyming and all the crazy words. My older boys will laugh, and then because of the rhyming and the cadence, it keeps my 2-year-old entertained as well. So we've been digging into Seuss. This is just the one we've most recently been into, but we have a whole bunch of other ones. So this is a cool little collection to have. And so I also sometimes share a podcast with you, and I do have one for you this month, and that is the Provoked podcast. It is also put on by Apologia, the same ones who do Sheologians, and the same ones that do Cultish. So it's not the same like speakers on there. It's not the same people on there. It's just from the same studio. But this is a brother and sister, grown, married brother and sister, that kind of have encouragement for you to share the gospel in today's tough world to share the gospel in sometimes. So they focus a lot on abortion and that whole side of things, and it's really good. They talk about the different arguments you'll get when you try to speak to someone about abortion, the things that they'll bring up against you, and how to kind of diffuse those with the Bible. They talk about different testimonies of people who have come out of different things like that. And they also invite people on who have opposing views and, respectfully have discussions with them about these things. And it's just really encouraging to see Christians stand up and deal with the hard things gracefully and with the gospel in mind. So I highly encourage you to listen to Provoked. And so for what's next, for the month of May, I plan on finishing up Women of the Word. I also plan on starting a book called 50 Children as far as nonfiction goes. It is by Stephen Pressman, and this is a true story about a man and woman who saved a bunch of Jewish children out of Nazi Germany. And I'm really excited to dig into that one. And then my other nonfiction that I plan on reading this month is The Evangelicals. Sorry about that. The Evangelicals, The Struggle to Shape America by Frances Fitzgerald. I've heard good things about this book. Again, it's kind of lengthy, but I think it'll be worth it. And I will let you know how that goes. Let me know if you have read that down below. So for fiction, I plan on finishing up Tale of Two Cities and starting this book, Orphan Train by Christina Baker Klein. It says Molly is aging out of the foster care system. A community service position helping an elderly woman clean out her home is the only thing keeping her out of juvie. As she helps Vivian, Molly learns that they aren't as different as they seem to be. As a young Irish immigrant orphaned in New York City, Vivian was put on a train to the Midwest with hundreds of other children toward an unknown destiny. So this is one of those kind of based on true events books, which I really like. So those are the books that I plan on reading this upcoming month. Let me know if you've read any of those and what you are currently reading and how you are liking it. And I thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you next time.